Welcome to Wealth Matters podcast. I have Ellie Perlman with me today. How are you, Ellie?
I'm doing good, Alpesh. How are you?
Good, thank you. So, Ellie's been in real estate, especially multifamily real estate, for a while. So, what's your current role in the business?
So I'm the CEO and founder of Lily Capital. So, oversee the underwriting and the marketing team, the basically investor relations team, and it's been great.
That's awesome. So, how did you get started in real estate?
I started my career as actually a real estate lawyer back in Israel in 2007,
Oh,
2006,
wow.
7. Yeah, that was very, very interesting to explore the crush with my investors who they were not my investors, they were investors, but they were my clients
Right.
back in the day. And then I transitioned to property management and then moved to the US in that was March of 2014. Went to MIT, got my MBA degree, and started investing in real estate.
That's awesome. Wow. So you are on the other side. You are an attorney in Israel. So did you decide to make a switch after coming here to US that you don't want to be an attorney anymore?
Yeah, I actually quit my job when I was still in Israel,
Oh,
and then
okay.
went to property management. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to be closer to real estate, to the business side, to learn, how to build property, how to not well, how to find properties, how to build companies,
Right.
and how to basically improve operations and the income. And it was for me much more enticing and interesting than representing clients and negotiating with banks, even though I learned a lot from that experience because I was part of the that wave. I was part of the recession.
Right.
Thankfully, I didn't lose any money because I was not an investor back then, but I learned a lot through my investments, through my clients.
So, when did you become full time in real estate? Right after your MBA?
Yeah, shortly after my MBA, I became a full real estate investor and a syndicator. That's right.
That's awesome. So we want to focus on finding large multifamily deals because that's one of the problem a lot of the people like me or investors like me are facing. So how do you find the properties when there is so much competition in the market?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Opesh. The main reason for us to find deals is through brokers. So
Okay,
we build relationships with brokers and they feed us deals that are sometimes they're marketed deals and sometimes the deals are they're not marketed, they're off
right.
market.
Off
And
market
they
pocket
still
listings.
Yeah, exactly. And they're still, the brokers choose to present those off-market deals to a select group of people and or groups, and they basically reach out to us when there's an off-market deal. So actually, the last four buildings that we've purchased were all
Off
through
market.
yes, through brokers and all
Hmm.
off-market.
So, how can someone start building that kind of relationship with a broker or brokers when they're just starting out in multifamily world? Maybe they have been investing in single family or investing in something else, and now they want to jump into multifamily. What should they do, or how do they approach a broker or brokers to try to build that kind of relationship?
I think the first step would be to do some market research and see which brokerage firm has the highest number of transactions, and then reach out to one of their team members and just schedule a meeting, go for coffee, maybe walk a property even if you're not really ready to buy it when you're just starting, and talk to them. And the most important thing is to get FaceTime with them so they'll know who you are, what you're looking for, what you like. But when you meet them, you have to be very polished about what you're looking for because they're going to ask, what are you looking to buy? You need to know the vintage. Sorry. You need to know the returns that you're looking at. You need to know if you're looking at core plus, or value add, the size, the areas that you want to invest in. You got to do your research before you even pick up the phone and talk to them. And then it's really good if you can get FaceTime with them so they can get to know you.
Yeah, and that's what I heard from others too. That face time is very very important, as well as knowing your criteria. Right? Are you planning for just stabilized asset or value add or distressed? Right? So a lot of those things, as well as of course the uh, class of the neighborhood, as well as the property. Right? A, B, or C minus whatsoever. Right? So, can you elaborate on each of the method you use to find properties, like different ways? So you did mention broker, and then, but how do you pursue a broker to? Of course, they'll say, "Oh, yeah, I have all those listed properties." How do you push them or pursue them so that they can give you the off-market or pocket listings? Or if there are any other methods, do you use to find properties?
You can really push brokers. I think you build those relationships over time. The more they see you, the more they hear from you, the more they'll get to know you and put you on their short list. One of the things that we are using, a tactic that is very important, is every time someone sends me a deal, if it doesn't work for me, I communicate exactly why.
Oh,
Why?
I
Because
see.
the returns are not, as high. The vintage is not right. There's high crime or some. You have to give them a solid reason backed by research, and so they want to see that you've done the work, and
Right.
that's how you gain their trust and credibility, by being very communicative.
Got it. So pretty much being in touch, right? So even if they send you a deal, if you do not respond, that means you don't even care or you didn't even look at it, right? So
Exactly.
kind of responding back, telling them this is why, and this is what we are looking for. Again, kind of also reminding them that this is my criteria. I'm still
Yes.
sticking to my criteria.
Yeah. Exactly.
So any other method you use to find properties other than working with brokers? And even if you are working with brokers, if there are any tactics you use?
Just with brokers. All of our deals came through brokers.
So can you share an example or two when you are able to find and close an off-market deal using the technique you have mentioned just now via brokers?
Yeah. So, when it comes to brokers, as I mentioned, we pick a few brokers to focus on. We build those relationships, and then, w- for instance, I went to the NMHC conference about a few weeks
Yeah,
ago in
that was a
Orlando.
couple weeks ago, right? I
Yes.
missed it. I wanted to go there.
Yeah, it was a
Next
great
time.
conference. And I left there with, a couple of off market deals that the broker that we haven't bought anything through that broker for a couple of years, but he knows us, and
Oh,
we kept
okay.
an open, line of communication. So we know about those two off market deals that he basically chose a very select number of groups to show to, and so we're gonna learn about this opportunity very quickly. Other deals came also through relationships with, we partner with other investors, and they sometimes bring relationships with brokers, and so they do exactly what we do. They stay in touch, they communicate, and then once there's something off market, then basically they're the ones to hear about the deal. And it's always, one other tactic is make sure that if you're about to sell a property, tell it to, even a year in advance. Make sure you communicate that with brokers, because they want your business, they want to
Right.
sell your property. And basically, if they think there's a chance that because you're going to give the job to one of them, then they're more likely to feed you off market deals. And that's another way of getting, off market deals.
Oh, that's interesting. So, can you tell my listeners what's the actual difference between on market and off market? Why? Of course, there are. I'm pretty sure you buy properties on market as well as off market. But what's the difference? Why off market could be better or maybe could be worse? Can you give us some rundown?
Yeah. So when I talk about off-market deals, basically what I mean is a deal that is not marketed to the public. So it's not online. It's not available to anyone who just goes to CBRE's website,
Right.
or any other brokerage firms out there, NKF. But Mainly, if it's off market, it means in my world that the broker chooses 3 to 5 groups to show the deal to, and they're the only ones that are competing for the deal. And there are other forms of off market deals where you actually find the deal because it's not even in the market. And it's a whole nother story. But the type of properties we're purchasing, 100 to 500 units, usually the players, the owners are pretty sophisticated, and
Right.
it's hard to, they usually like to go through a broker and not do, sell it directly to you. um, and so these are the off market deals, and I think the main advantage of going through that path is basically that you don't have a lot of competition. You're competing
Right.
with a smaller number of groups. I remember 2.5 years ago, I was competing for a property and there were 30 other bidders on the property. Now, how hard is it to, to win the
Right.
deal? The likelihood of something, bidding a little bit higher and getting the deal is a lot higher than you against three other or two other or five other people. So that's kind of, that's the main attraction of off market deals. Now, on the other hand, there's some disadvantages because many times you don't have the offering memorandum, you don't have the financials are not
Right.
always in the right format that you're used to. So there's a lot of information that is missing many times, and it's not as organized and as clear as just a normal marketed deal.
Right. So there is some more legwork needed, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't share everything with you upfront. Like on market deals, sometimes you already have a link on the website. You are able to download some pro forma or operating memorandum and maybe some other stuff, right? About the market, maybe a CoStar report. But
Yeah.
in off market, you may have to ask for lots of those kind of things. Okay, so I have one question as well, and that's regarding when you started this business, right? What did you have to do to find this kind of large multifamily deals, right? What was the process, right? That oh you because I'm in the same boat, right? I have this business. I've been investing in real estate, but small single families and very small multifamily, and I want to now move up to 80 units, 100 units. What did you have to do? I just want to see if I can follow or someone who is listening can follow the path you chose.
The process is not different. It's the same process for 20 units and 80 units and 800 units. It's the same exact process, it's just the numbers are different.
Okay.
The first thing that I did, I mean, I didn't have a W-2 job. And I think that that's
That's a good
easier.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you go after, syndicated deals and you want to get you want to manage a large property, it's really hard to do with a W-2 job.
Right, right.
Things happen all the time.
Yeah,
And so I think in terms of the process, you have a very, you should have a very robust process. These are the deals, this is the criteria, these are the deals that that come to the table. So we source deals online, we talk to brokers regularly, and then after that, we look at the neighborhood and we do an analysis and we check, okay, is this the area that I actually want to be in? And if the answer
right,
is yes, then we talk to the broker, we get the whisper, we get the deadline to submit the offers, and we do initial underwriting. And after that, we send our property manager to walk the property, come back to us with some actual numbers. We get figures from the property tax expert, and we adjust the property tax figure because this one you don't want to miss that one.
no, I've learned that hard way too.
It looks like there's a story there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So can you tell us about your very first deal, how you found that very first deal in the business, and what did you have to do to get to that deal?
Yeah, I actually lost my first deal and I got
Oh,
it back. It
wow.
was
I want to hear the story now.
well, I had a mentor and I was looking at a certain deal, and we got into the best and final, which is after everyone submits the offer, the highest, bids are being invited for a best and final offer where the seller interviews them, and then you're supposed to give your best
So,
offer.
sorry to interrupt. How did you get into best and final? How did you find that deal? Right, because that
It
was
was
your
a
first
marketed
deal.
deal. Yeah, it
Oh,
was a
okay. It was a
marketed deal.
marketed deal.
Yeah. It was a
And
marketing deal.
and so when you reached out to the broker, did they ask for any references, or you had the mentor with you as well at that point?
No, we basically, I've invested in real estate before passively, so you use that knowledge that you have and that
Okay.
experience, and basically, and that's what I used with the first deal, and basically showed the equity that I had in other deals, and that's how we got into the best and final. And I called my mentor and I said, hey, I'm in the best and final in this deal. What tips do you have for me to actually nail the deal? And I gave him the name, and he said, well, we're in a best and final too on that deal. So I found out that I was competing with my mentor
Oh,
on
wow.
the first deal, and we stopped talking about this deal because we couldn't. We had to,
Right.
it was unethical, and it was down to my company and his company, and the seller took the weekend to think it through. And the feedback that I got from the broker was that even though he really liked me and really liked the company, he wanted to go with someone with more
More
experience,
experience.
and that was understandable. But before I got that call from the broker, I actually got the call from my mentor, and he said, I have some bad news and some good news. And I said, what's the bad news? And he said, the bad news, which is good news for us, is that we got the deal. And the good news is that you can get it back if you partner with us. So do you want to partner with us?
Oh, wow.
And we found a role for me in that deal, and that's how I got the deal back. So I wasn't, it wasn't 100% deal that I did on my
Right.
own. There were other players there, which is fine because even today, it's we partner with investors, we partner with
Right.
operators, and that's how I got my first deal.
So do you think the first deal could have been different if you hadn't partnered? Or did you learn a lot more because you partnered with your mentor?
I would say both. You always learn from others by working and partnering with them, and you always learn if you have to do it, on your own.
Right.
If it wasn't that deal, it was probably a different deal.
Right.
A few months later, probably that's what it would have happened. But it really opened up the door for me and helped me build my portfolio for sure.
That's awesome. So when you found that deal, how did the broker perceive your inexperience, right? When you were reaching out, how did you saw them that you're serious?
Well, we had a proof of funds, and a lot of time, many times brokers ask that if they want to vet you when they don't know you. I would
Right.
say, yeah. So have a proof of funds. If you don't have it, I know that some syndicators have promised other investors that if they can use their bank account information, just approve or letter from their, CFA, and say basically, um, that basically some sort of proof that they have the right net worth and liquidity to make the purchase, then they'll give them a certain fee if the deal closes. So there's also a way to do that. But we had a proof of funds. I think an interesting and important thing is to have a website presence,
Right.
and because they're going to look you up before they're going to talk to you and
Absolutely.
and recommend you, because they're recommending the seller who to go with.
Right. Right.
And every time we close a deal, we put it in the website as well. But if you're just starting out, let's say you haven't done it before, you have no properties that you can say that you're a partner or an owner of, I would say the best way is to partner with someone who has experience, because this is how you can build your credibility by basically borrowing their credibility. So if
Right.
you're a partner and maybe you get a smaller piece of the GP, but this is something that it's basically, you're starting to accumulate experience, and it's that helps you build your credibility in front of investors and brokers.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Let's take a quick break, and after the break, we'll continue discussing how to find large multifamily. Welcome back to Wealth Matters podcast. I'm chatting with Ali about how to find our large multifamily deals, and she did share some of the interesting topics or ideas. One is about having a website, right? I think that's very important, showing the brokers that you are serious. And I do have a website, right? And anyone else, if someone is trying to acquire a large multifamily, it is showing that you are present, you are serious about this, and you are not another tire kicker, right? Uh, and also the proof of funds. See, that's one of the thing I have heard as well, that sometimes the brokers, if they don't know you or they don't trust you, they'll always ask for proof of funds, right? Can you show us you have enough? So those are some of the pretty important things to keep in mind. So, Ali, any tools or tips you want to share with small multifamily investor who is looking to jump into 60, 80, 100 units?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is that you can definitely syndicate a deal and raise money, so you're not really bounded by the number of dollars you have in the bank. So you can grow faster this way. The other thing that I would say is, you have to have a very robust process. If you're starting to look at large deals, you want to understand what is the process from start to finish. How do you source deals? How do you underwrite them? Who are the experts that you're going to go to help you with the underwriting? Like I've mentioned before, property tax expert, lenders, property managers, and we use actually Airtable, which is free. It's an app that is, or website that is based on Excel, but it allows you, you can build basically any process that you want. And I'm not affiliated with them in
Oh,
any
okay.
way.
Yeah, no, and I want to know the sites you use. That was going to be my next question, but yeah, let's
Yeah, Airtable, and you
add table.
basically, I think when you're buying large multifamily properties, you have to kind of step up your game and have a very robust process. So for us, it started with sourcing deals, doing neighborhood analysis, then initial underwriting, and getting the numbers from the property manager and then the property tax. So you got to know all the different
Right,
steps, and there are more steps, of course. I'm not
right,
going to name all of them, but
right.
you got to know the process. Build it with Airtable. I highly recommend it. And then every deal that comes into the table starts with sourcing, and then we just move it down the chain each step of the way. And that's how we were able to really underwrite a lot of deals. And if you don't like underwriting, you're not good at it, you can
Yeah,
hire people to do it.
exactly.
There are people that you can source it. You can,
Outsource it. Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
heard, that you can outsource it to, there are some companies, they, yeah, just do underwriting.
yeah. Under an underwriter, a company can be anywhere from 20 to $100 an hour. Just
Okay,
really depends on who you choose. You can go to Upwork and hire a contractor to basically help you with the underwriting. But again, scaling is all about, don't try to do it all. You can't
right,
build, you can't buy 200 unit apartment building and do everything. So
right.
you got to understand, what do you need to do? Who are the people who are going to help you? Reach out, you got to have a property manager you'll work with, a property tax expert, some lenders. So when you start the process, when you find a deal, everything moves down the chain pretty
I
smoothly.
see.
And every step, you know exactly what's going to be the next step.
Yeah, that's a value bomb right there. So, can you recommend any other apps or websites you use for finding properties, or which helps you throughout the process? I did get Airtable, which I'm gonna look it up as well. But
Yeah,
anything else?
I usually just go to the Marcus and Millichap's website, work on it, all the other companies, Barcadium, um, all the big ones, NKF. So you need to find who is the largest broker in your area, in the area where you're buying, and sign up for their email,
Right.
so
Yep.
mailing list, so you can receive all the deals. And then once you see a deal, start looking into it, start underwriting it. That's what we do. We just go to their websites.
That's awesome. Any business or real estate book you recommend?
Yes, actually, one of the books that I really enjoyed, and I'm looking away because I'm looking at the book right now, is Measure What Matters, which is
Measure
really
what
great.
matters.
Yeah, it teaches you how to focus on what you need to focus on in your business, how to find what you need to focus on, and how to create OKRs, which are objectives and key results. So here are the
Hmm.
objectives of every business, and here's how I'm gonna get to those objectives. And I've implemented that in my business with my teams, and it's been pretty good so far.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. How can my listeners reach out to you?
So you can Google, I'm on social media everywhere, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, but you can Google Ellie Perlman, and Ellie is ELLIE. You can find my website, ellieperlman.com. And if
Okay.
you go to the website, you can download for free the 5 crucial components that every real estate investor should look into, especially if you're passive investors. These are the 5 things you want to look at before you make any decision to invest with a syndicator.
That's awesome. And I found you through your website. So, yeah, definitely you can Google. Thank you so much, Ali, for your time today. I had fun.
Absolutely, Apesh. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All